September 25th, the new Fox Tuesday kicks off with New Girl's new season. Then welcome Ben and Kate.
Stay away from my sister before you find out what 6 years of Krav Maga feels like. Well, like year and a half plus like 4 years on and off I was traveling.
Followed by another all-new New Girl.
What am I looking at here? Pure, unadulterated friendship.
And the Mindy Project.
Can't believe you're tattling.
Tattling is when a little girl does it, okay? When a hot woman does it, it's called whistleblowing.
The new Fox Tuesday, premieres September 25th on Fox.
You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Bachelor Pad After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Bachelor Pad After Show.
Oh my gosh.
Bunch of lushes.
Well, we are on Bachelor Pad.
That sound can only mean one thing, and that is Bing is for doing, and we are doing another after show on AfterBuzz TV. I'm JC, and this is Bachelor Pad, the season finale, season 3, episode 8.
Cheers to that.
Yes, let's do a little cheers.
Cheers to that.
It's our finale, guys. It's been wonderful, and Krisily, we love you too.
She's had enough on the first season of Bachelor Pad.
That's right. You've had enough to drink in the first season of Bachelor Pad to carry you through.
I didn't drink there either.
Help us out here. Throw us a bone.
I don't drink.
Make
I'm
it
not gonna
sound,
lie.
make
Sorry.
it sound good.
Sorry. You guys can drink. I don't. Just a choice. No problem.
All right, guys. It's been a wild season, and you've been with us every step of the way. So if you're watching us on AfterBuzzTV.com, guys, hello. And if you're not, make sure to tune in on iTunes and subscribe. Comment. Let us know what you think about the show, what we can make better, who we can get rid of.
What?
I'm
Never.
kidding.
He's pointing at both of us,
I know.
It's our last
Not gonna
episode.
happen.
It'll never happen. Absolutely not.
Nope.
And also, you could also watch us on YouTube the next day as well. So just comment, share, let us know you care. So.
Oh, you run.
Comment,
like
share, let us know you care.
I like it.
All right, guys. Quick overview. What did you guys think of what we...
Introductions.
Come on.
Oh, my
They know
gosh.
us already. What?
Okay, let's introduce. I'll start with my lovely host to my right.
Canden.
And next to Canden.
I'm Cathy. Hey. Hey.
And our Bachelor expert. That's right. The one who's been in 14 seasons of the... Okay, she's been in 1 season of The Bachelor.
I was on season 1, 2, and 5.
Wow.
If you saw that, that was actually 1, 3, and 5 that I actually, and sorry about my Band-Aid. Rough day. Krisily, what's up, guys? How are you?
All right. And, of course, if it wasn't for this girl, we'd basically just be talking in a room to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The
Which
girl,
does happen, by the way.
yes. Marissa. What's up, Marissa? How are you?
I'm good.
She's better. She's better when the button works.
Great.
All right, guys, it's going to be a wild show. We're going to first off talk about our experience actually going to the finale and talk about the couples, what we liked, what we didn't like, and also Nick, the $215,000 schmuck, as he said it himself,
Not
which
nice.
we disagree for the most part. I think we're going to have a lot of debate on
He did
whether
call
he did
himself that, though.
Right.
That was nobody else. That was him.
Well, and Rachel, but
Right, but
He
she
did too.
said some more choice words than schmuck. But
Yeah.
I'm actually excited because for the first time on the panel with you guys, you can now understand what I'm talking about for some things.
Yeah.
I'm really excited because you guys went to the finale. Just in case everybody's just watching tonight, you guys went to see the filming.
We did.
I, of course, was not allowed to because I'm alumni and they're afraid we have big mouths. I don't know why they would think that. But I'm excited that you guys can now understand some of the things that I've been telling fans and Twitter and Facebook for so long. So
Yeah, what did you guys, what did you like, what did you notice the difference of us actually being there?
it was a lot longer when we were there. It was about 9 hours, and we left early.
It literally was 9 hours.
It was literally 9 hours, and we left early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we started watching it, like literally as soon as it came on, the conversations that were happening in the first 5 minutes were not conversations that happened in the first 5 minutes of taping. And it was very fast, and like I was like, whoa, this is all coming at me from all different angles. This is not like exactly how the conversations happened or how it flowed or what the order was. And that was very jarring.
Cathy, it looks like you want to say something on top of that.
No, I mean, I agree with Canden. I think that it got cut down very, succinctly, and that's what they need for television. It would have been nice to see some of the things that we saw or heard at the Bachelor finale, but at the same time, I think that the fans at home got, most of what we saw, so they got all of the good parts.
Like the only thing that we can actually really kind of get into is just basically body language. And we saw the couples, and there was like a big difference that we saw between, let's say, Kaylin and Lindsay as opposed to Tony and Blakely, because as we were watching it, we didn't know that he was going to propose.
Yeah.
But Tony and Blakely, they were holding hands the whole time in between breaks. Like this, we're demonstrated, Canden and I, yes, if you're watching.
But this was Blakely the whole time.
They were adorable. Oh my
gosh. She just like really loved him, and it was so cute to see Blakely just like giddy. Yeah. It wasn't what I was expecting from her. And sorry, we cannot hold.
Yeah, no,
she looked
kind of weird.
She looked just as gorgeous in person as she did on television. I thought she was absolutely stunning tonight. So.
Yeah, did they look different to you as what we see on TV?
No. The guys did wear makeup. Shocker. And I feel like what Krisily was alluding to earlier was that, they do cut down these conversations and they can make them sound worse or better than they actually are. And in several instances, there were apologies that were more drawn out, and, fans might have been more empathetic to that person, or, someone might be seen as a devil even though they're not that bad person. But it really is editing. And so it was nice to see as a fan, for the first time, that these castmates, are, while they are, portrayed to be this one person on television, they might not be that way.
Right. I also think it's really interesting is that what viewers don't ever realize is exactly what you said. You guys were there for 9 hours, and they were not done when you left. And the Bachelor Pad and the Bachelor and Bachelorette, they're filming 24 hours a day. Unless the entire house is sleeping, they're filming. The only time the cameras go down is when every single person in the house is fast asleep. And if one person gets up, the camera comes up.
Oh my gosh.
So if you can imagine that, and then they have to weasel that down maybe 3 days worth of footage into 1 hour or 2 hours of programming, you can see why so many people say they get a bad editor, they get this. I am a firm believer in what you say comes out of your mouth, but as you guys heard, the editing can make it sound so different, where you can have a conversation that sounds like we're best of friends and everything's great, but they can edit it to make it look like we hate each other.
Right.
And I also think that what people tend to forget in these situations, especially with Bachelor Pad, is there's pre-existing relationships outside the house before they get into the house. And while you're in the house, it's kind of a different experiment, I guess I would call it. And when you get out of the house, a lot of these people are still friends. They're still talking. So I see a lot of, I got a lot of Twitter hate tonight on sticking up for people and doing certain things. And I ask people to remember that it's a game, it's a show, it's edited, and these people are still friends outside of this. I mean, there's definitely some that aren't. Believe me, I have my fair share of not friends. But for the most part, they're all friends. And it's an interesting thing.
Jacqueline actually even said that during the show.
Yeah.
That she and Jamie would not be friends outside, and it happens just like in every big group of friends.
Right.
So
and we'll talk about Jacqueline and Rachel a little later, but that's another interesting thing that we saw was these two different conversations Jacqueline was having with us that were a little bit different.
Yes.
So then
socially awkward. Not Jacqueline. I mean Jamie. So.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to talk. Well, we're talking about our experience, and the neat part was when we walked into this big, the big holding area, and the people that got invited got to see the second to the last episode as well, because this is a few weeks ago, and
that's how we knew to be rock stars last week.
No. But there was this room that we were wondering, what is in that room? There was this room that was shrouded in like a blue, like big curtain. And
Deliberation.
Like, that was where actually where Nick and Rachel made their final decision.
I remember we were sitting down eating the little lunch that they gave us.
Our mini Subways?
I pointed out to JC and I said, look at that. Look over there. And it was the keep and share panels. And I was like, look at it. That's what they're going to hold. So it was cool to like actually be in that, and even as something as little as that got me.
Yeah, like as Nick was walking out and as they were walking backstage, I was like, oh look, we walked there and we were right there, standing there with the cast, right there.
I thought one of the things that you don't get to experience at home, I don't know if that's the correct wording for it, but a lot of the castmates during the commercial breaks were taking shots backstage. They were, taking...
There's a surprise.
There were sake bombs, or not sake bombs, but there were sake shots, tequila shots, and, the PAs, right when the cast would come off stage, they were like, Lindsay, do you want a sake bomb? And she'd be like, yeah.
See, why did they do that during break? We're doing it while we're filming right now. We got the champagne going tonight.
I feel like, too, they're reliant on that just a little bit because for that dynamic that they have as a house. I mean, they're in that house for so long with alcohol, and like that's just kind of part of their dynamic. And I feel like as a group, that's just what they do. So
that's changed. That's changed because there was no sake bombs or shots during our commercial breaks. We were allowed to stand, and that was it.
Well, this is a wild bunch.
Also,
totally different.
I mean, to sit there for 9 hours in front of a studio audience, that even if you're used to being on television, being in front of a studio audience is not, like, it's got to be scary for some of them. So I can see, why they might want.
Well, even for the studio audience, they had to have that warm-up guy because you could tell that there were lulls, and we would kind of like, and he'd have to pick everyone up. So
JC got up there and did a chicken dance or something before.
Oh, what did he do?
God, I wish I had that on video.
Oh, JC did the hip thing. What is it?
Where you jump on it? That one.
Oh yeah, jump on it. That's what it was. Do it, JC.
I'm not doing it. I didn't even do it then. They pulled me on the middle of the dang thing.
Oh, he went willingly.
But
he went willingly.
Back to some of the body language that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
I just remembered this. There was a lot of difference in body language between Blakely and Tony and Kaylin and Lindsay.
Totally.
And, while Blakely and Tony were hugging during every single break, they were, holding hands, like, always, like, touching each other. Kaylin and Lindsay seemed very, I don't want to say that they didn't seem like a couple because I feel like they did. I did notice him, trying to look for her when she wasn't around him, but they didn't share that same kind of chemistry almost.
She seemed a little more distant even than he, and we were talking about it while we were in the filming, and we're like, maybe she's a different love language. We were like, maybe she expresses it differently.
I just think that she's starting to realize outside of the house that she was his pawn to make him look like a better guy. I don't think that they have a real withstanding relationship.
They did cut out a lot of conversation with Kaylin and Lindsay. They got to talk about their relationship and whether it's real or not. And I do genuinely believe that they're trying to, have this relationship outside of the house. She stuck up for him several times during the filming, and he did say some mean things to her.
He did.
Like condescending, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was like funny, it was funny little jabs, but she would just kind of awkwardly laugh it off, and you're like, are you gonna put up with that?
There was one line where they said that Kaylin and Lindsay were kind of like the Switzerland in the house because they, voted whichever way they were supposed to. They were very neutral. And Kaylin said, Lindsay, you have some history with Switzerland, don't you? And we all know that's where she got dumped by Ben. So just rude.
But that doesn't surprise me coming from him.
Yeah. I mean, she laughed it off, so maybe she does have that same sense of humor. Like, she's able to take it. But
I don't know.
I still don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
No, not at all.
So overall, okay, we had a great time. It was fantastic. We actually had to leave and do. I had to leave and do an AfterBuzz show, and I missed because there's actually fans that have been tweeting. They're like, oh, they knew what happened. And
we actually
left.
had no idea what happened. Yeah. All three of us had to leave early, so we had no clue.
We didn't even know
who actually won.
Top two out of the two couples who.
No,
won,
as soon as they came out and Rachel did her spiel with Michael, we were done. Yeah.
So well, then let's actually get into the actual gameplay. What we saw, and let's talk about. At first, he was the Prince Charming of Bachelor Pad. Everyone loved him, but I think it was the fall of the White Prince, and that's Stag. They called Michael Stagliano onto the couch with Chris Harrison, and Did our opinion change of Michael? The girls are silent. I think they're nodding their heads yes, except for Krisily.
I think it was interesting to see Jacqueline say to him, and I forgot the exact line that she used, but she said something like, "I'm not buying what you're selling anymore." And I think it's interesting because I know Michael personally, and I know his whole family, and I've seen a very different side of Michael this season, and I said it from the beginning that he was still playing the game. He would say that it was love and it was this, and I've said it every episode that we've talked about him, that he was still, this was his game plan, this was his thing. But it was interesting to see so many people in the house kind of have a different outlook on him, because I've never seen that side of him. So it was interesting to me as someone who knew him to be like, oh, well, I would know he's just playing the game and that it's outside of the house, it's different. But I felt like a lot of people in the house tonight even had a change of opinion on him, and we're kind of looking at him like, you're not the nice guy that everyone thinks you are. You're just kind of like everyone else.
I want to point out a few episodes ago, back in the middle of the season, there was an interview with Michael during Bachelor Pad, and he said Rachel is the strategic choice. Like, she is friends with all of the girls in the house, and I, like to kiss her. That is what he said. Right. She's strategic. Not like, I'm falling in love with her, like all of these things. He never said that. So, it is interesting that he was playing the game.
He never said that to camera.
No, he did.
He did. They showed it tonight.
He didn't say that to anyone else. He said that to the producers and the camera.
I'm saying he didn't say that he was falling in love to the cameras. But I think what the people in the house were seeing was his actions towards her, and maybe his giddiness around her, and him kind of putting off a different air than he was to the cameras. He was being the puppet master to the cameras and saying, this is strategic, but I don't think he was saying that to anybody, maybe Erica Rose, because they're friends, but it appears that nobody else in the house was on that same page.
Yeah. But I don't even mean so much as that with the dating thing. What I mean is they seemed to think his person changed. Yeah. Like, I mean, dating somebody in the house and then not dating them out of the house, to me, doesn't make your person change, or like who you are, the things you stand for. But to me, I feel like I saw the people in the house look at him like he wasn't as sweet and innocent as everyone thinks, and that he was, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't feel like it was just about the dating situation. I feel like it was more about who he is as a person, and I'm really curious about that.
I think it could be new guard versus old guard, and possibly, let's say, with like Jacqueline and Rachel, they were this past season from Ben's season, so they're from the newer seasons. And Jacqueline seems like she has a lot of pull, a lot of loyalty. They were talking a lot about loyalty between Rachel and Jacqueline, that their friendships are tight. And for some, Stag is from a few seasons ago, even though he is loved by everyone, but the game changes, and Bachelor's going to change. Bachelor 2 seasons from now, it looks like you're going to disagree, but I just think maybe, his course is run through.
I think that it's, he went off of Bachelor Pad 2, and all these girls across America fell in love with him. Right. And that will get any guy to be cocky. I mean, you have America falling in love with you, and then to come on this season and every girl in the house is in love with you. Right. Obviously, he's going to be cocky, and he's going to, it's what you make it. It's how you deal with that. And, I thought that he was genuinely falling for Rachel. Apparently, that wasn't the case. But I feel like if you're a stand-up guy and you have a girl back home, I know that he wasn't dating this girl when he came on Bachelor Pad, but if you're falling for someone back home, you don't do that on camera. You don't kiss another girl. You don't snuggle up to them. You don't, sing them songs. You don't create a date for them outside, since you guys haven't won a date together. You don't do that.
No, and I agree, and I think that's what I'm alluding to is that, and because I love Stag, it's hard for me to even say it. I just hope he's not getting too big for his britches, because I know that a lot of times with a lot of these shows, you do gain a popularity and you do gain a fan base, and it's amazing because you can do other things with that. And unfortunately, there are the few people that just get a little cocky and they change. And I love the Stag, so I really hope that's not what's happening and that it was all editing tonight. But it did seem that way a little bit tonight, and it kind of hurt. to watch.
I do have to say that he was probably one of the nicest cast members that was at the finale. He was the one that was going into the stands and, you know, greeting his friends and or greeting his fans and talking to them and making conversation. He seemed genuinely interested in the people that were around him.
But I wonder, I mean, power corrupts. This is quick, but I feel like because, you know, he made the comment, like, if I was in the house, I would have voted me off first. And I feel like because he wasn't voted off first and because they willingly gave him the power again, he's like, all right, like, it's just another ego boost that he may or may not have needed.
So he felt untouchable. You're saying he just created a monster just maybe within the season itself.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you've known him but just in those few weeks, something happened while you're in that in that fishbowl.
I'm sure that's what it is, because I just can't see that happening. But stranger things have happened in the Bachelor world.
That is true. And speaking of strange, what about the friendship of Rachel and Jacqueline?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a fan of? Well, I don't know if you're acting or what. You could be an actress, Krisily. What's going on?
First of all, Jackie, I played the most loyal game in the house. That girl talked smack on every person in that house. So how loyal is that, number one?
Okay.
Number two, would she have taken Rachel to the finals if she knew that bringing Rachel to the finals would send her home? Because I don't think she would, because she seems very selfish from everything that we've seen.
I would say that if the finals was between Rachel and Nick and Ed and Jacqueline would have won it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, so it wouldn't have mattered who she had brought to the finals, or, you know, like, yes, she would have had a better chance against Chris and Sarah, but I feel like if it was up to Jacqueline and Ed, they probably would have brought Rachel.
Because they weren't the underdogs.
Yeah. But I feel like with Jacqueline, the entire time while we were sitting there during her interview, I did not believe one word she said. She's like, oh my gosh, I hate Rachel. You never forget those things that your friends do to you. I was like, you guys have hung out. We've seen pictures of you. You tweet with each other. You guys were friends this entire time since the wrap of filming till the finale. And
we talked about it on the show.
Yeah. And I have to say, the conversation between Jacqueline and Rachel, and Jacqueline saying that she was never going to forget this and that's so hurtful, and yes, she's still angry. That all happened after she spent a good 45 minutes defending Rachel against Michael and fighting for Rachel's benefit, and saying that she and Rachel talk, and that Rachel's not okay, Michael, and this is not okay, and she's a good person. And so I feel like from Jacqueline fighting for Rachel, then going into this spiel about how they're not going to be friends and this is really going to affect my decision, it was crap.
Well, maybe she was defending Rachel from Stag in that aspect because of just how her relationship is going with Ed, which, we'll never know how they end up.
That's a whole different story.
It makes her look bad to the viewer because she did go back and forth so many times. Like, they should have edited it. Not even gonna try that again. They should have done it so that she had her fight with Rachel first, and then they made up, and then she stuck up for Rachel to Michael. Because then, as a viewer, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But now, as a viewer watching her, I'm like, wow, she looks crazy.
And especially now that we have, like you said, they're tweeting each other, so we could see it ourselves. Yeah. So, I think Twitter's kind of changed the whole Bachelor franchise this season, this year.
Huge. This is the first season, by the way, that casts have been allowed to tweet and do things like that while the show is airing. We were not allowed to. Our Facebook pages had to be shut down, and our Twitter. So this is the first time they'd have allowed that, which is great because it gets the fans more actively involved in the show. But yeah, it was interesting to see that because there was a lot of information that we saw. And it was like, it's just back and forth. It's hard.
Right. So do you think they'll take it away for next season, perhaps, for whoever they select as Bachelor? They can't go back.
Bachelor, I still don't think you'll be able to tweet. That's a little bit different. But Bachelor Pad, I think they'll still allow it.
I think they shouldn't be allowed to tweet. Excuse me. They shouldn't be allowed to tweet with each other. Like, they should be allowed to tweet with their fans, but I feel like it kind of gives away spoilers if they're, if Rachel's allowed to tweet with Jacqueline. I mean, they're probably sitting right next to each other while they're doing that back in New York. So why, that just kind of ruins it.
We've brought it up on 3 different episodes, the fact that they went to Chicago to go visit Ed and Chris. Yes. And this is while we're, as a public, are thinking that they hate each other, and
it's very confusing.
Yeah, so.
But it just goes to show you that outside of that house and that bubble, that you do get past the game. Like, it's interesting. Like, I've said a million times, if I knew what I knew now, I would have voted completely different for my finale. So I feel like once you get to know the people in real life outside of the Bachelor Pad, you see different sides of them, and that's when you know when a person's good or bad. Chris is very clearly making good friends still. So he's clearly not the monster that everybody thinks he is, and I think that's important to show.
You know, so and I've heard he's opening a restaurant. Did you hear about that?
We'll talk about that.
Is it news? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that said, coming up also, we're gonna actually have a fan of the year. We're gonna give a little special something to when we get tons of fan mail, and we do answer, we do listen to everything you guys have to say. So we have a little special something for our fan of the year. But let's move on to some happy stuff.
Think happy thoughts.
Yes, Blakely and Tony, come on.
Congratulations.
Look, even Krisy's smiling right now.
I cried.
She cried.
Yeah.
Didn't you cry?
I cried at the thing.
We cried at the thing.
It was incredible.
That was the first proposal that JC, Canden, and I had seen live.
Ever.
So it was amazing.
Yeah.
And the room just got silent. Like, it was amazing. You could feel, I mean, it got edited so it looked like Blakely was just in shock and gonna say no, but you could tell that there was so much love between Blakely and Tony, and it was amazing to be a part of that.
I think she was freaked out because it was like her fairy tale like coming true, and she's like, oh my god, what's happening?
I feel like, and I've said it before, that I feel like if anybody's the most relatable to myself in the house, it was always Blakely. She was very strong-willed. She always had an opinion. Not everybody liked her because she had an opinion. I'm so glad to see that she got a lot farther than I did. But I do... And I'm sure so many women out there, it's such a relatable feeling to find somebody that you can be 100% yourself with. They don't hold you back. They don't care if you're stupid. They don't care if you're crazy. They don't care if you make really bad decisions. And there's something to be said about that. And I feel like the fact that they found that within each other is amazing. She had me in tears when she said that tonight. And I see them really lasting. And it's cool because Bachelor Pad seems to have a better success rate than Bachelor.
I said that so many times. But one of the things that I wanted to say was, at the end of the episode, they were talking about whether you deserve this or you deserve that. I think Blakely deserves Tony. Like, I think they're amazing for each other.
I do, and I loved that, and it's one of those things that I'm sure every girl in the world can relate to as well. But when he was talking, she looked so shocked, and she kept looking around waiting for something bad to happen. And I feel like she's probably, I don't know her well, I don't know her at all, I should say, but I feel like from what we've known about her on the shows, she's really talked about the fact that she hasn't had a great dating history and that she kind of falls for the wrong guys all the time. And so when you find that person, you're like always looking and waiting to see something's going to go wrong. Like, where's the camera? Where's somebody going to come tell me that he's lying? You know what I mean? Or where's the other girl coming out? And you could see that scary look in her face.
But his calming, just him, he was like, right here, look at me, I'm right here. And like pulling her back and saying like, I'm here. Like, I'm here for you. It's all about us. It's all about me. I'm right here. And I think that's the way that he comforts her, is him telling her like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, this is me. It's you and me right here.
You know what was interesting about Tony? When we were watching it, he literally did not say a word till their segment. Like, even the interaction, he was just quiet. We were like, God, he doesn't say much of it. Like, even Ryan.
He was probably nervous.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he was proposing.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, at that point, we had no idea. We thought he was just being weird.
But he did. I mean, he had a ring in his pocket. Like, she could say no. It's so quick. Like, he was probably a nervous wreck.
He had a ring the size of Texas in his pocket. Not just a ring. He had that huge freaking ring in the size, I don't know.
It looked pretty amazing.
And they did have to film that a couple times.
That was hilarious.
Just for that one shot, to get the right, like, Neil Lane logo.
Gotta love that Neil Lane. Call me. Call me.
No, and I just wanted to say, just Chris Harrison's reaction. He was in shock. Yeah. Literally, just to see him, seeing Chris's reaction throughout this episode, being there in the audience, when Blakely and Tony, it's like he's been a part of this for 10 years now.
I've never seen him clap like that ever.
Yeah. Literally
so excited.
I feel like he and Blakely have they have like a bond.
They do.
Like, I feel like maybe he's been a supporter of hers and like wanting her to do really well, and it's almost like his daughter, like, in a way, kind of.
Perhaps. No, but yeah, you did see that they had like a playful bond, and it was like we said, we've brought it up earlier that it was interesting seeing their personalities when the camera was off.
Yeah.
And the fact to see Ryan doing like a little dance. Ryan, who was like the innocent guy, the guy we never saw anything out of, he was doing like this little Chicago like bankhead bounce, and we're like,
he had so much personality.
Yeah.
During one of the breaks, Justin Bieber's boyfriend came on, and he was like doing this little shuffle in his chair and like looking at all his bands, and he's like,
he probably had like the most personality of most of the people there, which was funny.
What we all said at the same time. We're like, oh, look, he has a personality. No, but it was really good to see Blakely and Tony. I think they're in it for the long run, and just nothing but the best.
She's probably living on our coast now. She's probably in Portland.
Yeah.
Portland.
And the most important thing of their bond, she has cable.
Yes. She's really excited about cable.
She's excited about getting.
I can understand that.
You know, literally, come on.
Cable's exciting.
She's gonna have everything from FX,
Can
Fox.
watch football.
You know, she's gonna have Fox, Comedy Central. She's gonna have all those great things. So.
Well, face it, we all have a good comedy. It's human nature, for God's sake. I mean, and Fox Premiere Tuesday is stacked with them.
Ooh, really? Tell us more.
Well, Zooey Deschanel is back on the season premiere of New Girl, and boom. Just like that, she's laid off and looking for work. Then Family's a Funny Thing. From the producers of New Girl, it's the new series critics are calling one of the year's best new comedies, Ben and Kate, which I have seen previews for, and it looks funny. Then the season premiere of New Girl keeps on rolling with another all-new episode. I know. Sweet.
Back to back, yeah.
And then you guys were talking about this earlier, the Mindy Project. Tell me about that.
Okay. I went in saying, I'm not going to like it, 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 I'm not going to like it. And I started watching, I was like, liking, loved it.
And then you liked it on Facebook.
I did. No, I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Literally, you have to watch. You guys have to watch I watch them all.
Yeah.
But the Mindy.
New Girl's awesome. Ben and Kate looks cool, and then you're saying the Mindy Project is awesome. So
I feel like I'm Schmitty anyway from New Girl, but no.
The Mindy Project. I love Mindy Kaling. She is hysterical. She has so many boy problems, and I can relate to that. But she just, I mean, the way that she tells this story, and she was one of the head writers on The Office, so you know that the Mindy Project is going to be hilarious. I was actually on set for Ben and Kate a few days ago, and the actors there, they can ad-lib like no one's business. Like, they're hysterical off the cuff, and I already watched.
There's a lot of improv.
Yeah, there is a lot of
cool.
improv, and I watched the pilot for Ben and Kate as well, and it's hilarious. So
awesome.
I can't believe you just said, you know, you relate with your dating problems, and you said that on air. You know how many tweets you're gonna get?
How does someone who bakes as often as you do have dating problems?
I don't know.
Sorry,
I
just had to ask
I drive a stick shift. I drink whiskey. I like football.
She's like dream girl. Hello.
The next Bachelorette.
Exclusive.
Absolutely, guys.
AfterBuzz Bachelor.
Mike Fleiss, if you're
Call
watching.
of Duty. Come on.
Wow.
Seriously.
I don't think she's gonna make it out of the studio.
Somebody's going to be knocking on the door in like 5 seconds. Well, all those shows start, you guys, on Tuesday, September 25th at 8 p.m. So check it out on Fox.
Nice.
Boom.
All right. So, okay, now what we've been waiting for.
Yes.
We made it down to the final four.
Who are we talking about?
We're talking about Chris and Sarah and Nick and Rachel, the final four. All right. You've been defending Chris all along. Chris, I already see you nodding your head. And
I'm nodding my head at the ending. I'm not nodding my head at Chris.
Okay. No,
because
because
we just need to get Chris out of the way because he was not a big part of tonight's finale. I mean, there was about a 5-minute blurb of his deal, and he, said that his father is really ashamed of how he acted on television, which I would agree. If I was his father, that I would be ashamed.
You don't think he was campaigning? Think about it, because they still hadn't they still hadn't voted. So if he still makes that last play, I did this first, and you could see how just torn up he was about it and making that last plea. Remember, we've talked about last week. We talked about it. This is at the point of the game where you start campaigning.
Yeah.
Because you're in it. You're in the finals. So do you think maybe that was it? Christy knows.
I mean, I don't believe he was sincere. I believe his father was really embarrassed of his actions on television. I can totally think that that's true, but I don't feel like he's sincere in his apology.
I disagree. I think that he was sincere. I think looking back on this season, exactly what he said. He had no idea that Jamie felt that way. He had no idea that she was talking about having babies with him. I mean, come on. How can you think about, I mean, like, yeah, she's like in bed all cuddly, like, do you like me? I mean, like, of course he's going to say he likes her. He did like her. I think that he had no idea how intense her feelings were. I don't think that he wanted any like romantic relationship with Blakely. I think that it was just strictly in the house. He thought she was going to be a good partner, and then, you know, this whole Sarah thing came about. I think that he was sincere in his apology. I think that, you know, his family, again, they told him that he was not brought up that way, and I don't think that he was. I think that his feelings were very sincere on Emily's season, and, you know, I think that he'll definitely learn a lesson from this.
You know I'm a supporter of Chris. Happy birthday, buddy. It's your birthday today.
26, grown-ass man.
That's it. You're a grown man now.
Grown-ass man.
But I don't hang out with him all the time. I don't know him super well. We text back and forth, and, you know, he played the game. And this is the way I break it down, because I got into a little Twitter war tonight, I'm not going to lie. Blakely did not see what was coming with Chris. She was not like, he did this to 3 other girls in the house. So with Blakely, like, I understand her being upset. She was kind of blindsided. Jamie saw it coming. And if she didn't, then she needs to get a prescription, because actions speak louder than words. We all know that. And he was saying one thing, doing another. Like, she chose to do it that way, and she chose to keep going after him, and she chose to not let him break up with her. I mean, I feel bad for Jamie, but not because of what Chris did, but because she's a beautiful girl, and she needs to get her head out of her you know what, and realize that she's beautiful and she doesn't need to do things like this, because she needs a little bit of security. And that will only come with time. And I don't feel bad for her because of the Chris situation. I feel bad because I want her to be a stronger woman. But Chris is a really great guy. And Michael Stagg did the same thing to Rachel, and America doesn't hate him.
Well,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, I will say from the Twitterverse tonight that no one hates Michael. So it was very interesting to see that. People in the house different, but Chris is a really great guy, and he's a very genuine person. And although I am extremely happy with the ending of the show, it would have been cool to see somebody like him win, because he did play the game. He just played the girls instead of the boys.
We always said that he was making some of the best moves in Bachelor Pad history.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the thing with Erica was incredible.
He changed the game, single-handedly changed the game many times.
Yeah, and down to tonight, I mean, his gameplay was right on. He said, if you're not going to vote for me, vote for Sarah.
That's
like,
right.
That was so smart on his part. He knew that people weren't going to vote for him, so he had that, like, he was able to still kind of wrangle in some votes.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing that Chris did differently than Nick, and that's why Nick came out on top. Is Chris made enemies, Nick made none.
Yeah.
He didn't make
friends, but neither did Chris, obviously, in the end. I mean, they had 3 votes.
Nick made friends with Donna.
Yeah, that's right. They had
And
that little
her mouth.
smooch. And her mouth.
You know,
And
I mean,
her
like,
mouth.
No, because literally, so Chris, this whole season, we said, was playing the best game in Bachelor Pad history. I think in my opinion, I think we need to change that statement.
Yeah.
Nick played the best game in Bachelor Pad history.
Now he has, yeah.
He did all along.
The whole time he was.
Because there was an article, is that in the news? I'm not sure, that Chris Harrison was talking about Nick's demeanor and how he acted in the house.
Yeah.
They mentioned it on the show tonight, but you know, Chris Harrison himself said that he was always to himself, didn't really do much of anything, just did push-ups. And
Well, everyone in the house said he didn't deserve to be there. He didn't do anything to get there, because he played it safe. He stayed to himself. Like, he didn't talk to anybody. He didn't get involved in anything.
I think they're just sore about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably watched the past 2 seasons, and they knew that the alpha dogs in the house were the ones that were going to make it to the end, and they just expected the same outcome.
Right.
And that's not the case.
No.
So they're sore losers. That's all it is.
And I've said it since our first episode. I have been waiting every season for one person to win. This is a game that is built on lies. It is built on distrust. It is built on screwing the person to your left over and then the person to your right. Like, that's the way the game has worked. So And I will agree with the fact that depending on who your partner is, I would have taken the money and run. Like, I feel bad for Rachel, but maybe had Rachel not been calling Michael when she should be working with Nick, maybe even tonight when she would say, we weren't partners, she said that she was, what did she say?
Back-ended into it.
No, it wasn't even that. She said,
where was it?
It was everything about Michael, nothing about Nick, nothing about how he stepped up to the plate and was there for her when she needed somebody. Nothing to that effect.
Yeah.
She even said that he was, like, she referred to, like, being like her husband died or something.
A widow.
She said that she was widowed. I mean, come on.
She said, Nick brought this up during the final challenge when they were going to do the rock thing. He said, or Rachel said to Nick, you know, if it were me and Michael up here, we would win this.
So how's that got to make him feel? Right.
I mean, he feels like second best. No one wants to be someone's second choice, whether it's in a romantic relationship or in a game. Like, it's not a good feeling, and I can see why he felt so horrible. And he didn't feel like he had any alliance to her.
Especially at that point. It's like if they made it to that point, and it's like you should be excited regardless of who you're with at that point. You're in the final thing.
Yeah.
Like, Rachel wasn't even excited to be there. So I do feel bad for her, and it's hard. It's a hard thing for me because, like, my moral obligation is, like, how do you screw someone over like that? But as a first-timer watching, as a first-timer watching the game, and I will say his whole, like, demeanor was a little creepy to me at the end. Like, he went from being, like, the really nice, quiet guy to, like, a little bit like he was throwing it in your face, and I didn't appreciate that. But I do think that his rationality, there you go, there's the word, rationality for why he made the decision was correct.
I mean, like, I feel bad for Rachel, but in the same way, I feel like Rachel was right in that a lot of the votes going towards Nick and Rachel were because of Rachel. They were sympathy votes for her. So her saying, you would not be up here, you would not get this chance at $250,000 is correct. But I feel like what he said, you weren't here to win $125,000. You were here to win the complete $250,000.
Right.
Think about it. They've been there for, what, 6 weeks, maybe? He waited all this time for him to have that speech ready.
But I don't think he did.
No, that's right.
I do not think he went into that night saying, I'm going to keep this money. I don't. I think that he probably battled with it a little bit, and I think that had she played that night differently and said some different words and chose some different words and talked about him like he was there and part of the team, she said that he wouldn't be there because she brought him there. While, yes, she got the vote, she didn't bring him anywhere. Yeah. He got stuck with her because Michael left. He didn't want to be her partner either.
He was so smug the entire time. Like, Chris Harrison said, I mean, Rachel's clearly upset about the whole Michael thing, and Chris Harrison says, well, Rachel, at least you have, you know, this great partner. And she's like, yeah, Nick is so great. Like, and he's just sitting there.
But that was the only time that she said he was great, was that moment when Chris Harrison called her out. And I feel like that's where she went wrong. She put so much of her focus into the relationship with Michael that was clearly non-existent, that she failed to remember that she did have a partner and she needed to be there for him and carry her into the weight, and I don't feel like she realized that.
And all the other contestants actually pretty much agree that, you know, that he played a great game. I think even Chris's quote, "Love you, Rachel," but Nick won it. He won the game. It's almost like you're playing a hand of poker. You know, I know everyone's, oh, it's so bad, but in poker, you're bluffing. You're making these moves. Sure, there's $250,000 at stake here, so that, you know, the stakes are higher. So even more kudos to Nick that he played it so freaking well.
And I don't think that he threw anything in her face or was condescending at all. I think that he was just very confident in his decision. And when she kept, I mean, she asked why 350 times. How many more times can he say?
He explained that perfectly.
Like, he explained it perfectly, and he was not disrespectful to her. He was not mean or condescending. He very blatantly said to her, you know what, you didn't have, if you had played it differently tonight, if you had said that I was your partner and you weren't constantly looking back on Michael, then I would have picked Cher tonight.
So does this change the game for Bachelor Pad 4?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, now
it's like, it can happen.
Yeah.
The stakes are so much higher now, so much higher. I mean, the way Chris changed the game, the way they brought somebody into the voting room, the way that there's only one player now. You think this was bad with the lies and the scandal and the cheating? Wait till next season.
Next season's going to be ridiculous, honestly.
I think their ratings are going to go up a lot, too. Just because, like, you know, it has been the same thing the past few seasons, and this finale was a game changer. Yep. Literally. Yep.
Literally, it's more Bachelor than Bachelor and Bachelorette, if you think about it, because there are more couples that are ending up together. And there's the intrigue and the backstabbing and walking away with $250,000, you know, off of one quick little decision.
I would have definitely liked to see somebody.
We know what Cathy would do. She's flashing a keep sign.
Kathy would not share with any of us.
I would share. I would share with everyone.
I would have liked to
and you and no.
And not me, of course. Of course. Even though I live a block and a half from her and I'll find her and her money. I would have liked to have seen somebody that played a little bit harder be the one to keep it, but I'm okay that I'm just glad one person.
How can you say that? He was probably playing that was his MO the whole time.
I don't know about that.
You're not giving him that much credit?
I don't give him that much credit. I think that he stayed to himself and found that that was his way to kind of coast by, but I don't think that he was like, if I stay quiet and I stay by myself then I'm gonna win. No, I don't think that was it. I think he coasted his way on, and I think he showed everybody that they're all idiots.
If I were Rachel and I was in that position, I would have flown out to Florida to see him like every single weekend to make sure that they were still friends, and I don't feel like she did. She tried to maintain that relationship after they
But she didn't expect it. I mean, because the same could have been said by Nick. Nick should have flown out to see Rachel as well if she would have done it to him. It's just this has never been done.
Yeah.
Now it's when next season when they have that little break when they have that little break between. No, it's probably an earthquake. Now, when we have that little break in between the final 4 and the final 2. You know, they're going to be flying back and forth. There's going to be campaigning even in that time in between.
Well, and she said that to him tonight. We talked about this. We talked about this so many times, but I feel like all those conversations are bullshit. Can I say that?
Quote of the show, because remember she did no. If it's a quote on the show in which Rachel said bullshit many times. See, I'm there with you.
I feel like it was. I feel like it doesn't matter what you say to somebody. Then when she was in front of a live studio audience tonight, she never once said, thanks to my teammate who got me here. I think we got here together. We did that. There was none of that from her. Everything was Michael, 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 Michael. I don't know what he has with his tongue, but clearly he does something with it that these women are retarded over. It's like ridiculous.
Wow.
I went there. I'm sorry. These girls make out with him and all of a sudden they turn into mush. Like, I don't understand.
It's the guy with the guitar.
It's guy with the guitar?
Girls, I'm sorry.
All right, so with that said, you can any final thoughts of what we thought about Nick and his gameplay, how it might change?
Thank God there was just one.
You're just you've been waiting.
I have so patiently. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah. Cathy, any party
I just
shots?
wonder what Jenna Couture is thinking right now, because she wanted to marry Nick before. So I'm like, well, maybe she.
And we met them. Remember, we met them the Madame Tussauds night. We met Stag, Rachel, and Nick.
And Tony. Did you forget about Tony?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I never.
I mean, at that point, it probably would have been easy too.
Yeah. So anything to add, Cathy? Anything you could expect for BP4?
Nick was very tall in person. I don't know. No, I think that BP4 is going to be really exciting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Another season.
I think I want to try out for Bachelor Pad 4.
Yeah.
Let it be known.
Just kidding.
Take that down. We know ABC watches, so.
I'm too old.
Oh please, you're not a day over 20. Next, we're gonna let's move on to what do you ready for some news and gossip?
Yeah.
Some newsy type stuff with Cathy Kelley.
TV News.
So, next for this week.
I'm like, what did she got? What did she got?
I have some shocking things, which you probably already know. Chris B's birthday was today. He's 26 years old. We already knew that. But he is moving to Maryland.
Random.
He's leaving Chicago and moving to Maryland. He actually already is there for a Bachelor Pad viewing party that was tonight. And he's opening up a restaurant or bar with some friends. So congrats to him on the move.
Wasn't Caitlin one of the investors, possibly?
I do not know that, but...
Yeah. I'd read that I think he might have been one of the investors, possibly. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But so,
Quoting right now on Twitter.
That's exciting for him to be doing something, and I don't know.
Yeah, instead of trying to be famous.
He probably needs a change.
Yeah.
It brings out the worst in him, as we've seen.
Well, think about it. He's a good-looking guy. The notoriety of The Bachelor opens his own. Oh, you're pointing.
Taking the Brad Womack.
Oh, the Brad Womack blueprint.
Yeah.
Possibly. Ooh. So, because think about it. He's in D.C. He's in D.C. area. Good-looking guy. Good Lord.
I'm just glad he didn't cry, because he almost cried. Chris almost cried on the show tonight, and I think that would have ruined the publicity for his restaurant. But he didn't. He saved face.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a man that cries.
He's already cried enough.
Oh. Well, I think it's attractive. Good luck to you, Chris. And then also, Lindsay Lohan tweeted today that she watched the Bachelor Pad finale, and she thinks that Nick is an idiot. So if Lindsay Lohan thinks you're an idiot, you know you have some problems.
I think she was just watching the show to see if anybody was dumber than her.
No, and another thing.
Now she's never going to be a guest on our show.
She was also casing out the mansion to see if she could bring some friends to steal some stuff.
She's
I mean,
like,
really?
Oh, free alcohol? Yeah, sign me up for Bachelor Pad 4.
They don't give out drugs there, so she wouldn't be happy.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
You went there. You went there. And then also, I know a lot of us were expecting a Bachelor announcement for tonight. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. But hopefully, we are predicting that it will be on the premiere episode of Dancing with the Stars. So,
I mean, they've done that before, right?
Yes, they have.
Where it was like whoever's sitting next to Chris Harrison's the next Bachelor.
Well, I think we all have our own opinion on who's going to be Bachelor anyway. So.
Yes. Do we want to do that as prediction?
No, do it for prediction. Well,
that could be our prediction. Who's gonna be the Bachelor?
We're going to do it anyways.
Okay.
Does anybody not think the same thing?
Well, I want to take a moment even before we do predictions. This is our final episode, and Canden and I have been doing. We've done 30 episodes this year alone of Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Bachelor Pad. And later on, Cathy came along, and so did Krisily. But I also want to take a moment for some of our other co-hosts that we've had, Bobby Capel and Jenna Couture herself. We couldn't have done this show without you.
Nope.
Honestly, guys, you've made it a wonderful ride, and really appreciate everything you've helped bring to the show. But we want to take a moment to honor our fan of the year.
Yes.
Fan of the season.
We have great fans. We do. We have very loyal fans. We love. I'm getting so much better at tweeting, which is awesome. I'm like actually retweeting things, and people are sending me things, and it's really fun.
Some of the fans have actually sent in news, so they've helped out with the content for the show, which is amazing.
So definitely, we just want to take this moment and actually announce who. Marissa, can you give us a little bit of a drum roll? Or maybe.
Our fan of the year.
Our fan of the season. Here we go. Yes.
Fan of the season.
Hailing from Tennessee himself, Mr. Chris Mingy.
Yay!
Hey, Chris. Chris, we're going to send you a wonderful AfterBuzz TV cup with all our little signatures, and we couldn't have done the show without you, the fans, and especially you, Chris. Thank you for commenting and subscribing. So now...
And we're sorry we're not on chat roll tonight. The internet doesn't work real well in the studio, so I tried, guys. I love you on chat roll. There's a couple of you that stay strong with me every Monday, so I'm sorry that I wasn't there.
But thanks for tuning in with us at Studio B. It's awesome.
So now let's get into our... Predictions
for who's going to be the Bachelor.
Bachelor 2013. Your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Who we got? Who are we going to start? Oh, do you want me to start?
Yeah, you need to start.
I'm going to go. I think it's pretty cut and clear. It's Sean. Absolutely. I want Sean to be on the show. And
I want Sean.
I want Sean.
I want Sean too.
I want Sean. That's it.
Good save.
Period.
Good save.
Well, no, definitely want Sean. I think he'll bring in tons of fans. The women love him.
Yeah.
I think Roberto, but I think he has a girlfriend. I believe. I don't know if they're still together.
Rumored girlfriend.
Yes. I just think, and like we said last week, it would be cool if they put them both next season.
Yeah.
Who?
Roberto and Sean.
And if they had like two of them.
And they had like 30 girls. And
did they not do that one season?
They did.
There was two guys. They did, correct. Okay, so I'm not crazy. There were two guys, and then the girls voted on which guy they wanted.
The first night,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember that.
Oh, it was
that could happen
I think
again.
it was Byron's
Cathy and I would
season.
sign up.
I would vote for both of them.
See, but I would want to keep them both on, and you have 30 girls. And remember, we said last week, what if one of the girls fell in love? They fell in love with the same girl.
Me.
Yes, Cathy.
Or
Nobody.
Canden.
It would create a new element. It would create a new element to the show.
Yeah.
But if we're going under the Bachelor guidelines, I'm going with Sean. Canden, who do you think?
I think until Sean came around, it was going to be Roberto. I think that was in the bag. But I think Sean has swiped Roberto to the side, and I'm okay with it. Well, I'm not, because that means he won't be with me. But you know,
Yeah.
whatever. What are you gonna do?
I also agree that it's going to be Sean. I hope that it's going to be Sean. I mean, his Twitter has been blowing up lately. There are so many fans that support him, and he's absolutely hysterical on it. I think he'd be a really good candidate, and it'd be nice to see someone who you know is in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And
Wow, well said.
Yeah.
It's like I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
In it for the right reasons.
They all say that, but I really have a good feeling about Sean. I think that he is genuinely in this, if he does get it, he's in it to find his soulmate. I mean, his wife, forever and ever.
Okay, Bachelor Insider.
I love my Sean. I'm going to go with Kaylin, though. I think Kaylin's going to be the Bachelor.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying. No, I of course, I want Sean. I have for a long time. He's an amazing guy. He steps up to the plate, and he's just a really good guy, and I wish him the absolute best, and I know that he's doing this for the right reasons, if it is him.
So we got 4 for Team Sean.
Woohoo!
All right, so this is it.
So
It's
we'll
our
see
finale.
you guys for the Bachelor.
January.
So far away.
I'm gonna miss it.
Tweet us in the meantime.
Yes.
Yeah, let us know. And actually, one of our AfterBuzzers is having an interview with Jeff Holm in a few weeks, so stay tuned for that. And I guess, Krisily, where can they find you?
Go to Twitter and tweet me at Krisily.
You can find me on Twitter at Cathy Kelley, and I'll also be at AfterBuzz doing a lot of other shows. So.
Yeah, well, any other shows you guys got coming up?
Ooh, Sons of Anarchy. We're starting a week late, but we will be there. And in January, check us out on Californication.
Yeah, and I'm doing Married to Jonas right now, and then Marissa and I are going to be doing Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
I want in on that.
Canden, what about you? Where can they find you? And
You guys can tweet me at Canden Bliss. I'm still figuring out which shows I'm going to be doing, but I will be back. So
well, you're doing some reporting, right?
I'm shooting for AMC movie theaters right now, so you guys can check me out at ustream.tv/AMC-theaters on Monday and Thursdays at 11 a.m. We go live, and then our shows are on YouTube. So follow me on Twitter, and I'll tweet you guys the link at Canden Bliss, or follow me on Facebook, like my page, Canden Bliss, and I will get it all to you guys. We do movie talk for movie fans.
And the Wikipedia page is done.
Here's your social security number.
Wow. And
Holy macaroni.
if you guys are fans of more reality competitions, I actually host the X Factor on Wednesday nights. Our season premiere starts this Wednesday. You can find me at The Everyday Man, and you can find Marissa, Krisily, Cathy, Canden, and myself, all of us here at AfterBuzz TV. We'll see you. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.